Hey there, welcome to the Math Bench, where we break down math in a way that actually makes sense. Today's question is one I hear all the time. Why do we borrow in subtraction? Is it really borrowing? Who are we borrowing from? Let's go ahead and take a seat and let's figure it out together. Before we even talk about borrowing, let's zoom in on something super important: place value. Every number is made up of digits, but it is where those digits are that matter. In the number 42, you might have seen the number from the thumbnail. The 4 does not just mean 4, it means 4 tens, or 40. When you look at the 2 ones, well, it just means the number 2. If you were to add those together, you would get the number that we have on top here, 42. And the same can be applied with our other number in the thumbnail as well. If we were to go down here, and we were to use the number 18, the same could be applied here. The 1 just does not mean the number 1 by itself. It is under the tens place, so it means it has 1 10. Well, what does 1 10 equal? 10. But when you go over to the ones portion, we have a different number that's categorized in there, and that is the number 8. Well, just 8 ones is just the number 8. When you do add those two numbers together, you do end up with the number on top here, 18. For those of you that had trouble understanding the composing of those two numbers that we mentioned, do not worry. We will still use place value, but now we will represent it with the pictorial model. Understanding the pictorial model is not as hard as it seems. In fact, the way that I remember pictorial is by the beginning of the word pic. That sounds like a word we use today, picture. Pictorial means picture, so you can go ahead and create a drawing or a picture that represents each one. If you look at the tens here, I like to use a skinny rectangle. Now inside the skinny rectangle there are 10 ones blocks in it. If you get 10 ones, it is going to give you 1 10. So the number I have in my tens place here is 4. That means I'm going to be using 4 skinny rectangles to help represent my 4 tens. Now, if you use your skinny rectangles and there's 4 of them and there are 10 inside each rectangle, that means you will get a total of 10, 20, 30, and 40. And that's how it relates to our numerical pattern when we were composing the numbers on the other slide. Now, if you go ahead and look at the picture for the ones place, you have two options here that I think are valuable into your learning. You can either use a square or you can use a circle. Now, I just do this so that way I don't get confused with the tens place whenever I draw them out. I have the number 2 in my ones place, so I'm going to go ahead and use 2 circles to represent my ones here. So that'll be 1, 2. If you add those up together, you have 1 and 2. If you go ahead and take a look at the ending of each number, on the tens place you have 40, and at the ones place you have 2. So you have 42. For the number 18, it is no different. We have 1 10 here, which means I would be using 1 skinny rectangle to get myself 1 10. Well, that is just the number 10. When I go and look at my ones place, it is a lot larger than 42 when it only had 2 ones. In this case, in the number 18, I have 8 ones, which means I'm going to be using 8 circles to represent my number 8 in the ones place. I highly suggest you use the patterns to set them up so that way it is neat and you're able to read it easier. So when we look at a problem like 42 minus 18, we have to think about how many tens and how many ones we're working with. That's where place value helps us stay organized and where your pictorial model allows you to use the pictures that you drew to help solve the problem. Now, I will always tell you, please start on the ones place. Please do not start on the tens and on the left because you are going to get the problem wrong when it comes to regrouping. Starting on the tens place and on the left may have worked for problems where you did not have to regroup, but when you do regroup or borrow, please start on the ones. It is important to keep your sequence straight so that way you don't confuse yourself later. Now, if you start on your ones place, you have 2 minus 8, which means it wants you to take away 8 from 2. That is like saying you have 2 candies, but you want to eat 8 of them. It just doesn't work, it's not possible. But you can do something smart. You can take one of the 4 10s that you have here, and you can trade it for 10 1s. So what does that mean here? If you look at your 4 10s that we drew, you can take away 1, but instead of getting rid of them entirely, you're just trading them for 10 smaller circles more. And when you give yourself 10 more, you end up with 12 at the top now. Numerically, it looks like this. You cross out your 4, you're left with 3 10s now, and when you cross out your 2, you no longer have 2 now, you now have 12. So this is a lot easier to solve. 12 minus 8, well, if you go ahead and solve that, and if you want to pause the video to go ahead and solve it, 12 minus 8 is 4. And if we try and solve it, pictorially with our pictures on the side here, if we take away 8 from our 12, we also are ending up with 4. So that means that we have 4 at the bottom, which confirms that we solved it correctly. Now we can go ahead and move to our tens place and do 3 minus 1. I'm sure that will not take you a long time. You've been doing 3 minus 1 forever. 3 minus 1 gives you the answer of 2. If you go ahead and solve that with your pictures, and if you want to use your pictures for that, you have your 3 rectangles there. You just take away 1. You are only left with 2. And thus you end up with the answer of 24. If you have made it to this part of the video, awesome. This is where we are going to do our guided and independent practice. Now, I'm going to do the first 3 as a guided portion. You will do the last 3 independently, and I would love for you to leave your answers in the comments below. That would help a lot to know that you understood the concept and that you were able to solve them by yourself. Now, when we go ahead and look at the first problem, 32 minus 14, we can use the pictorial model if you'd like, but I am going to show you the very fast method and storytelling method that I use to solve these very quickly. So go ahead, follow along, and you'll do just fine. So if we look at 32 minus 14, we look at the right side. We start on the right side. 2 minus 4. 2 cannot handle the 4, so 2 needs help. 2 is going to ask the 3 for help. The 3 says, all right, 2, I can help you, but I'm only going to give you 1. So that 3 becomes a 2, and your 2 is going to become a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8, and 2 minus 1 is 1. You are left with the answer of 18. So if you don't feel like going and doing all the pictures and all the circles and all the rectangles, you can go ahead and use this story too. Listen for the story pattern again because it'll help you a lot. On 24 minus 16, 4 cannot handle the 6. So 4 needs to go and ask for help. He asks the 2 for help. The 2 says, all right, 4, I can help you, but I'm only going to give you 1. The 2 becomes a 1, and the 4 becomes a 14. 14 minus 6 is 8, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Now, a lot of you will feel tempted that you do have to put the 0 in front, but you do not have to. It is a choice. You're still going to get the same answer of 8 anyways. And lastly, let's look at 45 minus 28. If we start on the right, we have 5 minus 8. 5 cannot handle the 8 by himself, so 5 needs help. 5 asks 4 for help. 4 says, all right, 5, I can help you, but I'm only going to give you 1. So the 4 becomes a 3. Your 5 becomes a 15, and now you have 15 minus 8, that is 7, and 3 minus 2, which is 1, which should give you an answer of 17. You can now go ahead and move independently if you'd like to, or pause the video and let me know what answers you get in the comments.